Well, ladies and gentlemen, in another illegal, lawless attempt and act by Donald Trump, he and company illegally, unlawfully, and unconstitutionally defied yet again another rightful, legal, constitutional, lawful court order by Judge James B. Scheer, who is an Obama appointee judge. Let's start with this new reporting, this by the New York Times, the New York Post. This article is titled U.S. News. Trump admin defies judge's order to block Trans-Argentine deportation flights to El Salvador. Quote, headed to the Supreme Court. By Chris Neal. Neezy. And the article begins and reads, the Trump administration ignored a temporary court order to halt deportation flights of supposed accused Venezuelan gang members, my editorial's note, and is vowing to take it up with the highest court in the land. Quote, this is headed to the Supreme Court, and we will win. End quote. A senior White House official told Axios. The Trump administration and company, my editorial edition, ignored a U.S. district judge's order to halt deportation flights of accused Venezuelan gang members, vowing to take the battle to the Supreme Court. During an emergency hearing on Saturday, U.S. District Judge James Boasberg issued a 14-day restraining order to prevent the administration from revoking the 1789 Alien Enemies Act as justification for deporting illegal immigrants convicted of crimes without hearings. Quote, any plane containing these folks that is going to take off or is in the air needs to be returned to the United States, however that is accomplished. End quote. Boasberg wrote, according to the Washington Post. The more than 250 supposed, my editorials note, accused gang members were swiftly ushered to the notorious terrorism confinement center, CECOT, after Salvador President Nayib Bukele offered to house them. However, a day later, the first flight carrying more than 250 Venezuelan gang members left the U.S. bound for El Salvador, were escorted off the plane by heavily armed commandos and brought to the notorious terrorism confinement center, CECOT. The flights included 238 members of the Venezuelan prison gang TdA, as well as 23 members of MS-13. Venezuelan President Nayib Bukele revealed Sunday morning. A second official told the outlet that the administration's justification for ignoring Boasberg's order was that the ruling didn't apply because the flights were being flown over international waters and that his edict came too late to turn the planes around. The men seen in dramatic video being aggressively led from the transport planes to waiting armored personnel carriers. Quote, very important that people understand we are not actively defying court orders, end quote, the official reportedly told the outlet. Bukele.
Oh, you said Cedric, I maybe have a sucker? You said Cedric, I maybe have a sucker. Hey, Cedric, I maybe have a sucker. You maybe have a sucker? Yeah, maybe I do this.
Bukele agreed, to take in the accused, alleged, my editorial edition, gangbangers after meeting with Secretary of State Marco Rubio last week in exchange for a relatively low fee, quote, which has not been disclosed. President Trump shared a dramatic video of the prisoner transport on Truth Social Sunday evening, showing shackled men being roughly led from the planes onto armored troop transport vehicles. Quote, these are the monsters sent into our country by crooked Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats How dare they? Exclaimed Trump. Thank you to El Salvador and, in particular, President Buchel for your understanding of this horrible situation which was allowed to happen to the United States because of the incompetent Democrat leadership. We will not forget. The U.S. District Judge James Boasberg issued a 14-day restraining order to prevent the administration from invoking the 1789 Alien Enemies Act as justification for deporting illegal immigrants convicted of crimes without hearings. The centuries-old wartime law quietly invoked by the Trump administration on Friday has not been utilized since World War II, when it was used to establish a legal framework that enabled the U.S. to place non-citizen Japanese, German, and Italian in internment camps. Boasberg's order and the Trump administration's subsequent defiance of it are setting up a battle between the executive and judicial branches. Quote, it's a showdown that was always going to happen between the two branches of government, end quote, a senior official told the outlet. Quote, and it seemed that this was pretty clean. You have Venezuelan gang members. These are bad guys, as the president would say, end quote. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you that this is an illegal, unconstitutional, unlawful, illegal order enacted by the illegal Trump administration. Here's why. Because there's no threat against any foreign or domestic country that requires for the Alien Enemies Act of 1789 to be enacted. Hence, I see it as the Supreme Court just saying, nope, Trump, you gotta obey the court order. I mean, it's only 13 days. How much of a disaster can Trump make in 13 days? Ridiculous, if you ask me. Trump enacted an illegal executive order. Here's why it is illegal. Because there is no there is no evidence that any foreign or country or territory is planning to invade the U.S. That is why it's an unconstitutional, illegal order. And plus, it was not the Alien Enemies Act of 1789 wasn't even enacted for deportations, and it doesn't even exist for deportation reasons. That is going to do it for today's legal breaking update, ladies and gentlemen. If you did enjoy this legal breaking update, please make sure that you like, comment, share, and subscribe, as well as hit the bell icon if you never want to miss a brand new video. That is in a legal breaking update. That is right next to the subscribe button down below on the right hand side of the screen. You can also do so by following me on my social medias. That'll be linked down below, along with a very important, vital news link to this news article and legal breaking reporting. Donald Trump, you're in for a rude awakening by the Supreme Court because of your illegal enactation of the Alien Enemies Act of 1789. I despise you, Trump. Ladies and gentlemen, until my next reporting, please stay safe, and please stay healthy, and please stay positive, and justice will prevail despite Trump's illegal executive orders. I will look forward to talking to you guys in the next legal breaking reporting.